Hey, Natsu here. Today I'm going to do part 4 of What If Deku had a quirk called Absorption Evolution. In the last part, I told where everyone was going to go for their internship. Since Sun Eater has one for all, nobody's going to sorry about that. Nobody's going to Gran Torino's agency. Izuku's going with Endeavor, so Shoto and Izuku are going to be together. During the internship. And so when they were about to leave for the internship, I don't remember how long afterward, Izuku basically saw that Ida was weird, asked him about it. He said that his brother was attacked by the hero killer. And then he remembered, and not long after leaving, after Ida leaves, he just remembers that the hero with who he's going is actually patrolling in Hosu City. So he basically says to everyone that's in that area to try and see if you can find Ida, because he might do something extremely bad. So they leave, they go to Endeavor's agency, deku and Shoto, and I think, if I remember correctly, they already have their name for hero names, and Izuku's name is Chimera, because he literally looks like a monster born from a combination of different beasts and stuff like that. So when they were there, basically Endeavor mostly tried to train Shoto, but he also trained Izuku because he had a fire quirk as well. And he saw that with Izuku, Shoto is growing exponentially fast compared to with him, which he is mad that his son grows faster with someone else, but he still does it because, that makes him faster that makes him easily grow and probably faster defeat All Might. So basically they train for a bit like that, up until at some point Endeavor basically starts shouting at Izuku that he's in the way, because for some reason Shoto started using a different battle style, which made Endeavor mad, because who else than Izuku would have taught it to him. And basically when Endeavor tried to harm Izuku, which is basically fully resistant to flame at this point, he basically just tried to hurt him, not burn him, but Izuku had nothing, and he said, if you want to fight, we can fight, but I won't promise you that you're going to win. Which Shoto basically saw Izuku beat the Nomu, and just told his dad, you shouldn't fight him, because both of you could get hurt, and I don't think it would be a good thing for your agency if they heard that you hurt a student that came here for from UA just after the sports festival. It would be a pretty bad reputation. So Endeavor basically stops. Everyone else at his agency basically goes to Izuku and tells him that what he did was crazy. And Izuku basically tells them, I'm fully immune to flames. And I basically have shock absorption. What can he do? Punch me to death? I don't think so. Then he'll Shoto says, you also have regeneration, right? Which Izuku says, yeah, but extremely low one. My body could regenerate completely over time, but it would take multiple, probably months with the speed. Someone asked him, what does he mean by that? Which he basically says that as long as his brain is alive, his body will keep it alive while regenerating everything else. Which, because of the regeneration of the Nomu, which was strong, but since Deku didn't take that much from it, he will be alive as long as his brain is intact. But that's pretty much it. His body will regenerate over multiple months before it's fully operational. So basically, he trains with multiple heroes in the agency, almost beating some of them, most of the time ending battles with him, putting them to sleep and gaining part of their strengths. He didn't do it to Endeavor, but most of them were basically like just saying to him that his quirk is impressive, that with it he can basically be stronger than anyone. And so everyone else happens to do the same thing in their agency. And then we go to the night of patrol. While in town, basically the Nomus started attacking. Izuku was flying to beat some that were in the air. Every time he was basically burning them, he gained small amount of strength. Each of them have regeneration that is exactly like the other one, but weaker or stuff like that. And as long as the brain is exposed once again, well, no, as long as the brain is intact, they live. So he basically burned them and stuff like that, gaining more regen and different powers, but really low level. Up until at some point he sees Ida and basically just swoops down, grab him and the hero and bring them away. Stain decided to follow him because he just took his prey. While following him, Anomu basically came and was going to attack Izuku, which Izuku basically knocked down, went to the ground, and the Nomu was going back after him. This Nomu was different from the others, and was specifically created to fight against Izuku. Fire resistance, extreme regeneration, speed, strength, shock, nullification, and continuing like that. And Stain was going to attack Izuku, but basically the Nomu got in his way. And he basically saw that everything that Izuku was doing was basically protecting others, not even trying to actually fight him. So Stain basically decided to ask him while he was fighting, why did you stop me? Why did you help them? Basically saying that, well, basically saying the same speech as in the anime, making Stain think, okay, yeah, he's a true hero. Then, while Izuku was fighting against the Nomu, which was a lot stronger than him, Endeavor came, a lot of other heroes came because it was the last one. They basically started trying to beat him, which was ineffective. So the fight basically happens like this. Stays out of the way, basically looking at them fighting without any other hero seeing him. Then Nomu tanking every hit and basically sending one back a lot stronger. Resistance to flame and cold from Shoto. Basically the quirk he has is temperature nullification, so he isn't harmed by cold or heat. And so over time, while fighting, Izuku started being the last one standing and in extremely bad shape. The Nomu was way too strong for him. Ida was basically telling him to run because he was, if the Nomu's after him, the only way for him to save himself is to run until he's at least able to fight him better. Which Izuku basically started saying, I can't. If I leave, he's going to attack all of you. If I do that, you're going to die. And if that happens, how can I call myself a hero? Basically continuing fighting and becoming slightly stronger and stronger over time, which was basically just anger and starting to build up and pushing back up to a certain point where at some point the Nomu pushed him aside and was going to jump on him, but someone else was behind him. If he was dodging, the person behind him was going to die, and he basically started glowing, thinking, I have to beat him. And just before the Nomu was able to get to him, basically his body literally morphed and started growing, changing, and the moment he stopped glowing, bam, the Nomu was sent flying through a building. Everyone was basically looking at what happened, and Izuku was a lot different. He was bigger, a lot stronger, and his form was basically, he had 4 arms, 2 legs, a tail that had different types of spike at the end. Basically it was still some kind of scorpion tail, but it has the big stinger, then a morning star at the end, and over the entire tail there were spikes on it. His head was basically like, instead of a normal neck, it was more like a lizard or something, completely connected to the body, scales. On the entire back, it was like he had fire hair going down. His skin color was dark grayish with spots of red and white, and his wings basically grew a lot bigger, and instead of only having 2 wings, he had 4. He grew a lot, and basically he just started running at the Nomu and beating the crap out of it. Like, the shock notification was activated, but the hits were way too powerful. He was basically breaking through it, destroying him, up until the point where he basically grabbed him, pushed him threw him in the air, and basically with his tail destroyed the entire head at once. When that was over, well, the Nomu gave him energy, and then not long after that, Izuku then de-transformed, basically turning back into his normal form, completely exhausted and not even able to even be awake. The hero killer went away because he just thought, yeah, I have to give him a chance. I gave him a chance to fight, and he proved to me that he is a true hero. And so he left. So when he woke up in the hospital, All Might was there, Nezu, Recovery Girl, the whole class, Aizawa, his mom, even Endeavor, because basically he did save him, as well as multiple other heroes. And basically, first the heroes basically said thanks to him because he was the only thing that was able to protect them. Endeavor reluctantly told him that he did a good job, because basically Zuko proved he was stronger than him. Then everyone basically started asking him what it was, because he literally transformed. Like, they showed him a video of multiple different cameras that basically picked up on him transforming, him having a massive amount of light coming out of his body, him changing and becoming whatever he was, and then destroying the shit out of the Numu. So he doesn't even know what that was. Then Recovery Girl said that if it wasn't for his capacity to absorb energy and gain capacities from things he beat, he would probably have been dead because of all of the injury he got. Because basically they looked at cameras and everything from the entire battle from start to finish, and every hit he had would have been able to stop him completely for a good amount of time, and a lot of them would have killed him. So basically, after a while, everyone left. Then a police officer came and asked him about Stain because he got told about it. And Izuku said that while he was fighting against the Numu, Stain left. That he didn't even try to fight him, that he just ran away. And so he didn't get in trouble because basically they were told to fight the Numu anyway. And so when the class started again, everyone at school basically, when seeing Izuku, was going to ask him how he did what he did, telling him that he was super cool, telling him that they wanted to be friends with him, training with him and stuff like that. Him mostly saying no to everyone because, well, being like that basically means he have to find a way to transform again and a way to control it, because he doesn't remember anything from when he transformed for some reason. I'm only putting that because the moment he transformed, he was basically starting to be knocked out. Basically his body was just holding on, but he transformed and completely was knocked out, so it was basically moving on instinct of protecting everyone, so he doesn't even know what he did basically. So while in class, they basically, Aizawa basically tells them about what they're going to do with the exam after the agencies. So everyone basically starts talking about, everyone that was talking about the written exam being hard. Momo, Bakugo, train, were with them, making them learn. And Izuku basically asked if for the time between that happening and the time they were now, if he could leave for a bit because he doesn't want to turn back into whatever it was and lose control again because he doesn't even remember what he did in that form, which Aizawa decided to leave it to him because, well, if he transforms at any moment and that he doesn't even know what he's doing, it could be bad. Since with the Nomu, it was okay that it killed him because it was just a monster. But if you do that to a human, that is looked a lot differently by everyone. So for the entire time, basically, Izuku was out in the wood, trying to kind of meditate and think of just transforming, basically shutting down every other thing he was thinking about, and only thinking about that. At some point, let's say a hero that was looking in the forest because it was said that a villain went to hide in it, basically came across Izuku meditating with a lot of animals just around him, peacefully being there. Bears, other animals like birds and stuff being on him. Him just being there meditating, only thinking about transforming. Then the hero asks him, "Hey kid," which he opens his eyes. Every animal basically looks at the guy, and the hero basically asks him multiple questions, which the first one is your quirk animal control? Because I've never seen a bear and a deer stay together without hurting each other. Which he says, not really, I'm trying to control my quirk actually. Then the hero asks him if they're dangerous, which he says, I don't know. After that, the hero asks him if he saw or heard anyone coming in the forest because there's a villain in it. And Izuku basically tells him, do you need help finding him? Which he says, well, I would, but I don't want to take a kid to fight. And he says, well, I'm in UA, a first year. Which he said, wait, UA. Oh, you're the kid who made a killing at the sports festival. He says, yeah, a bit ago I also in Hosu, while monsters attacked, I transformed and used my quirk in a way I never found before. Then he says, so you're that kid. Then Deku explained to him what he's actually trying to do, trying to transform once more. And so he says if it doesn't bother him, then he says that it doesn't bother him if the hero needs help, since he can fly and has an extremely good hearing and a great sense of smell. So he basically asked the villain if he has anything that would be to the villain, which the hero basically takes out a bag and say, yeah, he tried to steal stuff and that was his bag. So Izuku basically smelled it and then started sniffing around, and at some point he found the trace, and he basically brought the villain, the hero to the villain, and the hero kind of arrested him. And while doing that, they basically found a cave where in it were no animals, but a lot of crystals and stuff like that. And there was some droplet that was falling from the ceiling, making a place perfectly suitable to stay calm. And Izuku basically decided to stay in here trying to control it. So the hero left, basically, as well as giving Izuku his phone number and taking Izuku's phone number, telling him that if at some point they need help with something like that again, he's going to call him, since he's basically better than a tracking dog. So basically Izuku stays there. At some point he's able to transform for a bit. He's in perfect control, but he doesn't know at all how to control the form. For some reason he's able to walk and stuff like that as if it was his normal body. Completely able to move every part without problem. But he's not able to send his fire for some reason. So after seeing that he can control it, he basically tried to detransform, which he does, and tried transforming again, which he has trouble doing until he's able to, and then he basically continues doing that for the entire time, hunting animals, eating them, and stuff like that. So when he came back to school, he didn't get any stronger. He only meditated to be able to control his transformation, which he basically just called evolution, which is why they decided to change his quirk name to absorption and evolution, because he absorbs stuff and he can evolve to something else. So after doing all of that, he does the written exam, which he gets a bit under what he got in the anime. And then it comes to the fight with the heroes, or teachers. And when with Bakugo, he basically tells Bakugo to just wait a bit, he's going to transform and to jump on his back, which Bakugo says, fine, okay. I'm not going to say anything to that, I'm going to accept. So they do that, and basically Izuku starts flying to the entrance, which All Might basically gives his punch, which sends enough pressure to basically slow them down for a bit. Then All Might basically sees them starting to arrive, and he's like, okay, yep, that's going to be hard. So he basically jumps in the air and right in front of Izuku basically gives a punch that lands, because Izuku basically knows he can tank it. But All Might went over 100% to basically try and push him down, which he was able to. Izuku was basically able to launch Bakugo through the gate, which Izuku then untransformed and jumped to it, which All Might was basically unable to stop. So they won, because in his transformed form, which I don't really have a name yet for it, because he's basically going to give each of his form specific names. So in his normal form, he is Chimera. In his second form, he's going to be something else, and continuing like that. So basically, he wasn't able to beat Chimera because he's faster when he's not transformed. When it comes to flying, I mean. Well, and walking, because the size he has in his second form does augment his muscle, but it's harder to move practically anywhere because he's basically like 2 or 3 times bigger than All Might. So he is big. Well, not 2 or 3 times, more like 4 or 5, because basically he can have All Might on his shoulder. So he is humongous. And so that's why he's kind of slower in cities and stuff like that, because it's kind of hard to maneuver. His second transformation is going to be bigger than that. His third is going to shrink down to be a more controlled version, but a lot stronger, a lot faster, and everything else than his previous forms. And he's going to be have a fifth form that will come probably a lot later, if not at all. It will depend on how the anime continues. So yeah, Bakugo and Izuku passed, and basically everyone else got what they had. Even though they were stronger, they weren't. So those that lost didn't get as strong. Well, sorry not to do anything like that, like Sugar Rush and Kirishima. Well, Sugar Rush and Red Riot basically had trouble with that still. Because yes, Red Riot is a lot tougher, and Sugar Rush has a lot more strength that gets boosted. They're fighting Cementos, so yeah. So, hope you liked it. This was part 4 of What If Deku had a quirk called Absorption Evolution. Natsu, out.